let's get with it. If you're watching, y'all getting them comments, come join that conversation. But first, I wanted to ask you, I seen a story, which I'm sure a lot of people have seen about now, but that young lady that won that $1 million lottery, and they gave her the option to take the money right now or $1,000 a week for life. She chose that. What would you pick?
Give me the money.
What would y'all pick? If you're watching this, what would y'all pick? Let me know in the comments. You want $1,000 for life and hope you live longer than 5 months, or take that $1 million right now, which is going to be slashed because of taxes and, you know, whatever else. But you probably wind up with, you know, $600,000-700,000 after everything's said and done. Or you just take that $1,000 weekly for the rest of your life. It ain't even until that million's paid off.
Mm-hmm. Give me $1 million.
Give me $1 million. Right now, really?
Yeah.
Damn. That would be tough. That would be a tough one, dude, because I mean, you think about it. I mean, $1,000, it's $52,000 a year. It's not like it's some, you know, major fucking, you know, but it's a guaranteed until or unless they run out of money. That's the kind of shit that crosses my mind, is like in 5 years, they're going to be like, oh, sorry, we don't have the money no more, you know, or something like that. But at the same time, if you live, you know, if you're young enough and you live 30, 40, 50, 60 more years and you're getting $1,000 a week steady income coming in, that's pretty tempting, dude.
It really is.
That's
but I'm
tempting.
with you. I'd be scared that they run out of money. Like, fuck, what was that company? They really like just went out of business. Like Poshmark or some bullshit, you know. It was an old company. They always do the giveaways and the raffles.
Oh,
and
yeah,
shit.
yeah. Publishers Clearinghouse.
Yeah. And they had a bunch of like For Life winners and shit, and like they just got an email out the blue or a letter in the mail like, hey, your you know, For Life shit is ending now.
That would be my fear with taking that $1,000 a week for the rest of my life, because like you said, all it takes is them not to have it or something goes on with that system that actually pays that money. And what are you going to do about it? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, now you're screwed, especially because it's in Canada. So they're going to do whatever the fuck they want anyway, you know? Yeah. But anyway, I thought that was interesting because she took the $1,000, you know, which is nice, man. Right. If you know for sure you're going to have a steady grand every week. A weekly $1,000, bro, and on top of whatever else you're doing for a living. I mean, that's an extra $50,000 a year just for fucking doing nothing. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, that was something I just seen right before we got on, so I figured I'd throw that at you. But let's get into the main reasons why we here. Jelly Roll on the Joe Rogan podcast said that he would like to see a road to redemption when it comes to felons being able to earn the privilege to own firearms again.
Okay.
Myself, hadn't really thought about that before because, for one, I'm not a felon. I don't plan on being one. But I kind of see what he's getting at. I guess if it's not a violent felony, you know, you didn't commit assault with a deadly weapon or you know, attempted murder or even murder, because some people get out. You know, so I mean, I guess there wouldn't be an issue with that. I mean, I don't think the Second Amendment should only apply to people that, you know, haven't fucked up a time or two in life. You know,
right? Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think all non-violent felonies should definitely have except for Jelly Roll.
You don't want Jelly Roll having no firearm?
No, not Jelly Roll. But everybody else, yes, yeah. I think if it was anything, like I said, non-violent, then absolutely go for it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. That's kind of where I was leaning. I see some people are like, no mercy at all, you know. And I know you can hear me, so I'm gonna keep talking. But yeah, they just no mercy, whatever. You committed a felony, you fucked up, that's it. Your chances they're done. You know what I mean? And I just don't think that's right, because, you know, like you said, it should be about being able to redeem yourself. Now, there should be things, you know, certain protocols you have to meet, of course. You know, I mean, it shouldn't just be an easy process.
No. It should definitely be a process, as far as, like, I'm sure, I mean, it would go talking to your parole officer, probation officer, and, you know, speaking to even like what kind of inmate you were while you were locked up for your felonies. You know, I mean, if you were in there just whooping ass and stabbing motherfuckers, then maybe your weed charge deserves for you to not have a gun.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, if you behaved your whole sentence, you know. And speaking of sentences, I tell you what, I saw something the other day. They just executed a guy. I want to say Florida, but I could be mistaken. So it doesn't really matter. But they executed a guy that committed a murder decades ago, like always. You know, he was convicted of it, killed some college student or something. You know, I didn't read as far as the crime. I just know he was convicted of murder. He was sentenced to death, and they put him to sleep the other day. Now, they, of course, had his quote, you know, of him saying that he's at peace. You know, he found peace. He apologizes, blah, blah, blah. He's ready, you know, to go to the other side and this, that, and other. And I started thinking, is it fair to give people that are on death row that chance to know when their day is going to come, so therefore they can make peace with it? Because they didn't allow their victim to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So should it be as simple as you're convicted, your sentence is death, but you don't know when it's going to come or how it's going to come. So have fun with that until it comes. You know, is that too cruel? Is that too, you know, inhumane?
But they should make it like a game, you know, like a guess who.
Do something. I mean, I'm with you. Anything to me that would allow them to at least experience some sort of mental discomfort, besides the fact that you're going to die anyway. But a lot of people sitting there for decades where they have time to deal with that, and they find religion, of course, and then they become where they're at peace with it. And it's like, well, why do you deserve that when, you know, you choked some young girl out until there was no life left in her body, and she didn't have that option to go out with that kind of dignity and make peace with the fact that she's about to leave this earth? You know what I mean? It just seems that it's so humane that it's like, well, what about the victim? I say, you know, you have whoever your executioner is, and whatever day he decides, he busts in the cell and takes the motherfucker out the same way he took somebody out. You know what I mean?
Know what
and
I like? You know what I like? I got
I don't know.
Right? Okay.
Go ahead.
So, boom. In prison, sitting in your cell, death row, hanging out, da-da-da. Buddy comes in, hey, boom, time to go, right? So you get in there, you get all wired up, you know, IVs, whatnot, da-da-da. And then they just shoot you up with a bunch of Xanax. You pass out, boom, and then they wheel you back in your cell, okay? So when you wake up, they give it an hour or two, you know, next day, whatever, and come in. And, all right, come on, let's go, you know? And you just... For like 5 years, and you just think you're reliving the same day over and over and over and over. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And you know, and a lot of people, honestly, we're fucking around and all, but we're kind of not, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people look at it and say, well, that's just cruel. That's just cruel. But they forget about what these people did to get there. You know what I mean? Especially if you purposely took an innocent person's life. Yeah. You know, and chances are, you didn't give them a humane way. Like, hey, look, I'm going to give you 20 years to think about it, but I'm going to come strangle you to death in 20 years. So, you know, just make peace with it and be, you know what I mean? You didn't do none of that. It was that element of surprise of that, oh my God, what's going on? You know, that should be what they need to deal with mentally too, would be the only fair punishment to me. And I don't give a fuck how cruel it sounds, because until it's your family member that somebody's got a belt around their neck choking the fuck out of them, you know what I mean? You might think a little different until it happens to someone close to you. Then it's like, yeah, fuck that motherfucker, you know?
Right.
I ain't even had it happen to nobody close to me, but I just think if you know, fuck, why do you get that peace? I mean,
yeah,
that's the only way I feel. That's how I feel about it. But
I think that's one of my only, I guess, complaints about the death penalty is that if I were facing or convicted of life in prison, like natural life, you're done, you are not getting out, no parole, like just let's get it over with. Yeah. I don't want to fucking live in here. Like, what's the point? Let's get it over with. Yeah, I mean, you know?
That's how I've always thought, but for some reason they steadily fight to not be put to sleep. So maybe you think different if you were in that situation, I don't know. I'm not telling you how you would think. I'm just saying maybe you would, because it seems like none of them are in a rush to get it over with. You know?
No, the only thing I can think is that they just haven't ran out of appeals and shit like that. So they're like, well, don't kill me yet. Like, I still need to appeal it. You know?
Yeah, but it's weird because even when they do, because what do you get, like 3 appeals or some shit?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, like whatever it is, yeah. And then you can still sit there for 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's just nuts, man, how that system is. You know, once it's cut and dry. You took someone else's life. There's no question to it. You know what I mean? It's not well, maybe there's a chance he was in. None of that shit. It's 100%. You did it. What's the holdup? You know, and what is this deal with telling them a day? So they, like I said, they have time to sit around and mentally prepare for the end of life when their victim didn't get to do that. I have no fucking sympathy for it. So fuck. Nah. But anyway, that wasn't what we were here to talk about. We were really, I seen, well, for one, I'm looking at Nick Fuentes. You remember when he pepper sprayed that lady that came to his house? No. Do you remember? You don't remember that? She came to his house and she rang the doorbell. And as soon as he opened it, he sprayed her in the fucking face with mace. Well, she fucking, you know, of course, wanted to sue him. He got in some shit, but it found out what he agreed to was anger management, an in-person apology, $635 in restitution because her phone broke or something when she fell or when he sprayed her, and 75 hours of community service. And I forgot about that because it happened a while back until I saw the video. And I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that. But that was before Fuentes was really like, you know, the household name now, like he's becoming. But he did. He straight, like, she rang the doorbell. He opened it and just sprayed her right in the fucking face. Didn't ask, who are you? So,
like, there was no context clues of who this lady was or like.
Well, he may have, like, before she got there, maybe people were fucking with him. I'm gonna pull it up right now. So if y'all are watching, let's watch it together, guys. Let's see. Let's pull it up on the big screen here. Bam. All right. So this was the video.
You're on the tonight's BS.
Oh, cool. That's the one I wanted to be on.
Hell yeah.
No, hold on. How about that? Is that better? You critiquing my producing skills?
Hey.
No, I had to get the video. So anyway, you see her. She's about to ring the doorbell.
Hi. Oh, wait. What are you doing?
Bitch said, hi. Oh, what are you doing? So that was it.
So crazy.
Just that quick. So I'm sure there's some context to it, like, but I don't think it was like she had been there harassing him or anything, because if that was the case, he probably could have got away with that.
Right. Yeah, but it's just so odd. Like,
apparently there was something behind it. Like maybe other people had been there, but I mean, he didn't give her a chance to. It's so funny how fast he was like, "Here you go, bitch." But anyway, so now he's got to
swung the door open.
Yeah, so he's got to apologize for that now, and he's got to pay for her iPhone. So apparently it broke. So he lives.
Was it? I guess it fell inside of his house. I mean, I assume it was.
No, it looked like it fell on the ground, on the sidewalk. Well, yeah, that's true, because it was her phone. So maybe so. He probably stole it too. There ain't no telling. He lives in Illinois, a liberal state. Yeah, it is weird. It is odd. Like, why? I'm still kind of wondering what's really going on with this boy. You know.
Well, wasn't it his house that dude showed up with a gun? Like, he had him on a camera outside. He showed up with like a little SMG, I believe. So yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that. There ain't no telling, but it can't be getting any better for him, because he is fucking ruffling some feathers right now. But yeah, like I said, I don't remember the gun thing. I even forgot about the mace thing till I seen it come across that he, you know, it was actually settled or whatever this case was against him. But
yeah, it was. So 11 months ago, New York Post posted it. Far-right influencer Nick Fuentes says armed would-be assassin came to his home to kill him. It was a dude in a motorcycle helmet and a pistol, like ringing his doorbell. He happened to not be home at the time, but
yeah. Dude, that's a scary position. I mean, I'm say scary. I mean, look, if you're built for it, you're built for it. And apparently he doesn't care. But, you know, it's got to be odd to get to that level where people are actually showing up where you're at with bad intentions, you know?
Yeah.
And it just has to be nuts to go from being nobody to all of a sudden it's like, oh, shit, you know, this lady's ringing my doorbell. You know, whatever reason he had to to just, blast her right in the face with the mace. So it doesn't look like it started there. There was more shit behind that,
Yeah.
But, and like I said, it can't be getting any better for him as far as, the death threats and, everything else that's going on. It just can't, because that boy, man, he is off the rails right now.
Yeah, he gets a little crazy.
Yeah, a lot crazy. But I've seen
American Patriot. So what do you think about his opinions on Israel? Which I don't really know, because I'm gonna be honest with you. His opinions on Israel, it's just never been a big, I guess, concern or bullet point in my brain yet. So
yeah, and I honestly, besides the the crazy shit like him spraying people and stuff, I don't pay that much attention to Nick Fuentes. You can't help but see his clips, you know what I mean? But I don't really dig into, I haven't heard like what is his things with Israel? What is it? You know what I mean?
Basically fuck him.
Oh, okay. See, that's what I mean. I catch little highlights and little goofy reels and shit of him, but I don't follow him like that.
Yeah, he goes deep in it, like as far as like Israel controls the government, they basically control the world, and
and I want to say we kind of touched on sort of that the other night when we had brought him up, was that, is it all heartfelt opinions, or is he just out there rage baiting people? You know what I mean? Like, does he really believe half the shit that he's out there saying? Because whatever he's doing, it's working.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's working. I mean, the dude's on Piers Morgan, and every other fucking major person that's in the game right now wants to talk to him.
Yeah, which the clips I saw on that seemed like a major rage bait. Him and Piers
Morgan.
Yeah,
he was. Oh, he had to have been. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think part of what he's doing, he done found this shtick that's working for him, and it's to piss off whoever the fuck he's gonna piss off and just go with it, And I'm not saying he don't believe some of the shit he's saying, but it's just always like so far, it's never subtle with somebody like him. The clips I've seen, I don't watch his long form shit, so I don't know if it's a lot of it's out of context or not. But what's American Patriot? American Patriot, thank you for actually keeping us busy here. What's your opinion on Trump? Apparently Nick doesn't like him because he says he betrayed MAGA.
Mm-hmm.
Man, my emotions go up and down when it comes to Trump. I voted for him twice. You know what I mean? I just thought he was the better option of what was running. I'm not part of the MAGA cult, although a lot of people throw that on us. I don't know why. I guess they get on the show and just assume it's two, 3 white guys, whatever, talking that we're MAGA. But, I'm not. I don't like how he handled some things, starting like, and we've touched on it before, and it's like beating a dead horse. But the whole Epstein debacle from day one, where of course they were gonna transparency with that from day one, day one. So I didn't like that. I don't know. I'm sure I could come up if I, really had to. There'd be a list of things that Trump didn't do that I, that.
Well. Yeah, I don't like that he gave up on the basically lowering the tax stamps for Class 3 firearms to $0. He gave that up. He hasn't jumped on board to the Hearing Protection Act. He banned bump stocks. So I don't like the against the two-way shit that he's been doing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so you're not a fan of him because in your mind, you're either all in on the Second Amendment or not.
Yeah.
In other words, like, there is no,
Absolutely.
I'm for it, but this, maybe with these stipulations, you're kind of like, fuck that.
And especially if, you're for it when you're talking, but anytime a bill's been passed that has to do with firearms, it's against them. I mean, like I said, as far as the bump stocks, and then everything else has just been talk, it's, oh, well, in the big, beautiful bill, we're going to lower tax stamps to $0. And that didn't happen. And it hasn't even been a discussion since.
Hasn't even been a discussion. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not like he's got, everything he's done has been a win for sure. I do think he's a lot better option of what we could have had, the way that we were going, especially the way that the country was just, it was like an open faucet of money just going everywhere. And a lot of the places, they don't even know where it was going, who it was going to. It was just going, you know what I mean? And that, I like that he kind of put a stranglehold on that. I'm not saying there's not still some corruption and some money funneling and all that shit going on, but from what he did with Doge, and cut off a lot of that shit where it was just useless spending because it's our money. No matter how anybody wants to look at it, if you pay taxes in this country, that was your money. So whether you're left, right, center, that should have bothered you. You know, everything that Elon was uncovering, if you've paid any taxes to the federal government, that should have been first on your list of things that piss you off, no matter who was doing it. You know, no matter who found this corruption and decided to do something about it, you should have been on board with that. But the funny thing is, I was seeing people on the left, they didn't like that. They didn't want Doge to be,
not at all.
And I'm like, why would you not want that? I can see why the politicians didn't, because they were probably benefiting, but I'm just talking about their followers. You know, the average citizen that voted for Harris or whoever, you know, if Trump was doing it, they didn't like it, even if it was going to save them money, you know, or stop some of the corruption that was going on in Washington. They didn't like it because Trump did it. And I'm like, that's such an ignorant mindset, you know. It's so stupid. But I do like what Alton's saying. You know, I mean, Fuentes for president, would that not be interesting as fuck?
Oh God, yeah, it would. It'd flip a page. It would flip a page. Jesus, they would want Trump back.
I was gonna say they think Trump is bad.
Trump back.
Yeah. Wait till somebody. I look. They wouldn't attempt to take him out. He'd be done. I don't think Fuentes would last a month.
I don't know that he'd make it to the election, dude.
It would be hilarious to see, you know, just what would go on in a place like that. But to answer his, I myself, I guess you could say, like, I'm a registered independent. You know, of course I lean to the right because the left is so fucking batshit crazy now. But that's just me, Justin. I'm not gonna speak for you on that.
Yeah, I don't take, I guess, a full political stance. You know, my main political concerns are obviously gun rights.
You're a gun nut.
Yeah, definitely. You know, a lot of my political beliefs roll off of 2A. I would like to say, you know, just try not to lie, but they all fucking do that. You can't have any hopes there as far as I'm telling you the truth and believing exactly
a politician?
what they say. Yeah.
Yeah. That's either side. You're gonna get that. They're all full of shit. You know.
Yeah, that is my biggest, I guess, concern. Which, you know, some people say is terrible because, you know, there's homeless and, you know, there's just a bunch of economic shit to be worried about. But I don't follow it all, right?
No, I'm with you. Yeah, if you don't, you know, you don't have to sit there and live and breathe this political shit, because in the grand scheme of it, I don't think our opinion matters at all. I don't even think our votes really matter. I mean, they like to feed you that shit and give you that false sense that you've got some kind of say. You know what I mean? But I think we get so wrapped up in it for nothing, you know, and I think it's done on purpose.
100%.
You know, and I fall for it. You know what I mean? I fall for it. These last two races that Trump were in, I mean, I was hardcore. You know, fuck the left. You know, whatever. Just get Trump in there. Like, Trump actually gives a fuck about me and what I'm saying. You know, so I fall for it too. You know, but some people are just hardcore where they can't even stop for a second and realize what they're doing. You know, like, wait a second, I'm blindly following people because they've got me convinced the other side is so bad that no matter what this side that I'm following does, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Because the other side is even worse, you know? And like I said, I get caught up in that trap too, where I don't want to listen to anything the left is talking about. They may have some good ideas, but I get caught up in that shit where they've gone so far off the rails. And it's like, I don't even want to listen to anything you're saying now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people get caught up in that shit if you pay too much attention to these politics. So every now and then you just got to step back, you know, step back and say, okay, neither side gives a fuck about me, you, or anybody else. So once you realize that, then, you know, you can kind of start to see what's going on here. And what was
and that's why I am where I am. It's like I want a small government that leaves me the fuck alone and lets me protect myself. And
that's it.
Feed my family. That's it. That's all I want. You know,
that's all we're asking for. You know, and I don't care what side's going to do that. Just do it. You know, just do it. It used to be the left with the liberals. That's what it was. You were just liberal. It was less government. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what they stood for. I mean, look at the hippies back in the 70s and shit. It was just leave me the fuck alone. Let me smoke my pot, drop my acid, whatever, you know? But now they've switched to where it's like, please govern me more, you know? Tell me what to do. And that is a weird transition that it made with politics, man. It's now the right is at least preaching less government, you know, as far as the politicians on the right. I don't think they mean it, because I think they all want control, but they're at least preaching it, where the left is, look, we got this. We're going to take care of you, you know, and imagine falling for that. The government's going to take care of you.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine being that dense, you know, like, oh yeah, they got us, you know, which, oh, go ahead.
I was talking about American Patriots comment.
What he said?
Yeah, as far as, I think the First Amendment's more important than the Second, and I think they definitely hold high values together, you know, because without the first, we're definitely no longer a free country. If you can't speak your mind openly, then, I mean, everything starts going downhill, which we see that being attacked already in, you know, Portland, like the case we had talked about Wednesday. And then,
which, to remind anybody, I was going to say, to run it back for anybody that's watching, that case in Portland, it was for that guy that got stabbed. White guy got stabbed by a black guy. He says the N-word, and they dropped the case against the black guy that did the stabbing, because they called it was self-defense, because the guy threw a derogatory term at him.
After he had been stabbed.
After he was stabbed, but the judge threw it out because the guy said the N-word. And so I'm with you. That right there lets you know the First Amendment is real important, because now you're getting someone trying to kill you is getting off because you said a word. So anyway,
so basically they're setting the precedent in Portland that you can be legally murdered for saying words. Now, without the Second Amendment, I believe that we don't have the First. I think the Second protects the First. I feel like it always has. That's why it kind of came to be. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Like you said, the Second affects the First, because, you know, that's one of the big things. Of course, any government that tries to take over, the first thing you want to do is disarm the citizens. I mean, why wouldn't you? That's the first good move if you're trying to be one of those type of you know, the leadership roles. If you want to control everybody, first thing you do, take away their means to protect themselves. Then you come after what they're able to say, because you don't want them being able to get messages across to anybody else that contradicts what they're telling you. And that's basically what goes on in, like, North Korea. You know what I mean? Let them catch you speaking out against the government. You're fucking done. And your family's done. I mean, this doesn't stop at you when they find you in places like that, saying shit and doing shit you're not supposed to be doing. So it is a slippery slope. Like you said, you get rid of the Second Amendment, falls apart. After that, then it all just goes to shit.
Everything.
You know? Yeah.
And, you know, as far as the smaller government, you know, there's you hear the stories where, you know, somebody will live in a house that they've kind of thrown together. A house may or may not have power. It, you know, might not have all its windows or whatever, but that's their home. And then you have government that steps in and says, you can't live here. You have to go. And it's like, so you'd rather me be under a bridge, or, you know, in a homeless shelter, so that y'all can get some more tax dollars off of, you know, however y'all budget it. That and several places, maybe there's a good reason for it, that you can't collect, like, rainwater and shit like that, you know. I think all that shit's crazy.
Yeah, it's like anybody, like, try to go live off the grid, you know, which is basically what you're talking about, you know, because I know a fella years ago that was doing it out in the Mississippi area, and he was harassed all the time by the local authorities. You know, just they don't want that. They don't, because I mean, this dude was like living off of solar panels, you know, had a well that he dug, so he had his water. You know, he didn't need them. They didn't like that shit. You know what I mean? So they were constantly fucking with this dude, and it's like, just leave him the fuck alone. You know what I mean? But they don't want you being self-sufficient, and I think that's either side of the government. They want you depending on them. As soon as you figure out you don't need them, they're in trouble, you know? And I think that's why they keep us at each other so much, and, you know, preaching how bad the other side is, so they can say, but if you come with us, it's all going to be okay. But you have to stick with us, you know, when in reality, you don't need either one. I mean, they're both fucking useless, you know? So that matter. And it reminds me how dirty these motherfuckers are, because I don't know if you saw the news, and I will probably get throttled after, you know, even talking about it, but, you know, new shit with the vaccines, the COVID-19 vaccines. Okay. FDA comes out, they're going to add a black box, which is like it's a warning on the medicine that you get, which is like one of the most, crucial warnings you could get is the black box warning, telling people that it could basically fuck your heart up. You know what I mean? Now, this is the same shit people were getting fired for, canceled for, lives ruined for saying that shit. And because the government was, oh no, that's misinformation. These things are totally safe. You know what I mean? Now, this same fucking government is coming out and telling you that, yeah, we're going to go ahead and put a warning on this shit because it's dangerous.
Right.
So
I saw you shared CNN's a screenshot of it earlier. I saw that. Yeah. Did you read CNN's write-up on it?
No, I didn't. I just saw the headline of it where it says, I think it's the one you're talking about. It says FDA intends to put its most serious warning on COVID vaccines, source says.
Yes. And they basically kind of went on a rant about how it's Trump's fault and it shouldn't be there. And, their top scientists say that, it's not necessary and, yada, yada, this and that.
And you know what? And this is shame on me for not reading the article because all I did was read the headline. And I was talking to somebody today about it, and I actually gave CNN credit for even covering that. And then they go and fuck it all up because you're telling me they were basically totally against this shit.
Oh, yeah, dude. Read the first paragraph in the fucking article.
Oh, motherfucker. But either way, it took, years for them to come out and say what people like us and millions of people across the country were saying, or trying to say, if you could even stay platformed to say it. Is that the shit was not safe. I mean, you saw it. If you paid attention to anything but the mainstream media, you heard the reports coming out and how it was affecting people and how unnecessary it was, really, especially when they started pushing it on the kids.
Right.
But, this is the same. They kicked, military people out, they kicked them out of the service for that shit. They fired nurses and firefighters and, shit like that. Families were basically ripped apart at holidays. You couldn't come together. We were all supposed to be, running around, walking on these fucking footprints in these grocery stores and stupid shit,
They did have the footprints.
And what were we doing? Oh, wait, where do I stand? Well, wait, okay, right here. You know what I mean? But the one that really irks me is the people that lost their livelihood because they didn't want to take that shit. And now they got the fucking nerve to come out and say that basically those people were right. So where's the compensation for anybody that lost their fucking job over this?
Yeah, and that's what American Patriot actually just said. I'm fucked. I got the vaccine because I was forced to.
Yeah. Know how they argue that? Well, you weren't forced to do anything. Basically you can just quit. Yeah. And that's people I know in certain industries, that's what they were told, basically. We're not forcing you to do nothing. Now, this career that you've been having for 20 years, that you went to college for 4 years for, we'll take it from you, but we're not forcing you to do anything. So you make a decision. That's how they came at you. And that's a fucked up place to put somebody in. You know what I mean? It's a fucked up position to put somebody in, especially when this shit they're coming out with now with these vaccines where they're actually starting to tell the truth a little bit. They knew that shit when they were pushing it on people. It's not like they just found this out. They knew what the fuck they were pushing. And that's what makes it fucking evil. And the worst part is nobody's going to be held accountable for that. Nobody. It's disgusting.
Yep. And I believe they knew it because, we always look at, the politicians and, all the people behind these pharmacy companies and shit like that. And it's like these dumb motherfuckers, but I don't believe any of them are stupid. I don't believe it. I think they're smart motherfuckers and it's all calculated. It's all planned. Right. It's, Yeah.
The only ones that I give any kind of, little bit of slack to, maybe some of because see, these doctors are only going by what these medical journals and these medical books are telling them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it started from the very top that they were lying. The same thing they did with the Oxycontin, a little epidemic that hit the country. These doctors were being told by the Sacklers and whatever company they were running. I forget the name of the pharmaceutical company, but either way, they were being told by them that it's not addictive. It's not, don't worry about it. It's not addictive. So that's what the doctors are going by. Now, that's not to say some of them didn't know later that, wait, man, my patients are addicted to this. And then they kept writing the scripts. So, but there were some that just didn't know. So was there some of that going on with this vaccine stuff? I'm sure some of these doctors were 100% on it. Like, look, this is what you need. It's going to save everybody. I believe there was a lot of them that believed that. You know, I think a lot of the corruption and the evilness and the not giving a fuck came from the top of the people that were making the billions of dollars off of this shit. And like I said, now when they want to come out and give you a warning about it with shit that they knew from the beginning, it should be criminal. That's all there is to it. It should be criminal, and somebody should be held accountable.
Yeah, it came out way too fast for me, the vaccine. Like that was really, I didn't care which side was pushing the vaccine or whatever. Like that
Trump
didn't matter to me.
No,
right? It was the speed at which it came out. Cause I was like, all right, either y'all already had this shit and had all of this planned out, or some shady shit's going on with the vaccine as far as like y'all just mixed some fucking concoction together and was like, shoot this up, it'll save you, you know? And I was like, had it have been coming, like had the vaccine been coming out like today, maybe it'd be a different story, you know? Okay, it's been a few years, COVID's still hitting, whatever. Maybe I don't really take any of the vaccines, flu or anything, but you know what I mean? I wouldn't be skeptical on it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. What's up, Johnny? Yeah, we see you there, Johnny. Hey, what's happening? Yeah, it like you said, it was rushed, and even like Trump was the first one. I mean, it was Operation Warp Speed, you know, and like I said, I was a Trump supporter, but I don't give a fuck. Fuck him and that vaccine is how I thought about it. You know, like hold on, like you said, let's give it a while, because this shit wasn't studied like they do most things. I mean, most of them, it's 5-10 years they're doing these studies, and they're still fucking lying to you after that. You know what I mean? But at least in your mind, you might be like, well, it's been around for 10 years, you know? But with this one, it's like, we're going to get it done in 4 months or whatever. We're going to have a vaccine. Like, fuck you. You know, and I want to apologize to YouTube because, you know, they don't like this kind of talk. We'll probably have some kind of warning thing on this video in the morning.
Oh,
you know, but
we're going to lose our live privileges for a week.
But see, honestly, speaking of this platform, this shit that we're saying, this would have got you like canceled a couple years ago. Like the channel would have gone. The next morning I'd have got up and it had been like, you violated, you know what I mean? So at least they got over that part. But they still, I know anybody that pushed hardcore for those lockdowns and that vaccine never wants to admit they were wrong. You know what I mean? And that including this platform we're on. They're not going to come out and say we were wrong. They might just stop suspending channels over it. You know what I mean? Which I guess that's better than nothing.
Yeah, it's a start, right? I did want to comment on the CNN post, you know, that kind of got us into all this, right?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Because so basically the whole thing was them saying that it was, you know, Trump's doing, and basically it's a lie and it shouldn't be on there, right? But then they go on to give some examples of medications that have boxed warnings. One of them being a smallpox and mpox vaccine has a warning about complications such as heart inflammation and encephalitis, right? Isn't heart inflammation one of the big talks about the COVID vaccine?
Well, it was the myocarditis, yeah. I mean,
why is it's worthy to be a black box warning when it's the smallpox and mpox vaccine, but not COVID vaccine, according to CNN.
Yeah, well, because like I said, CNN's part of what went on, part of the PSYOP. They were part of the problem because they were pushing that vaccine shit so hard, and they were pushing the narrative that was being spun around COVID. So they're the last ones that are going to backtrack on it. So they have to stick with it now because it makes them look totally like what they are. You know what I mean? Which is just lying, corrupt, you know, pieces of shit that were arms of the government when the Biden administration and you know, fuck Obama administration, anytime the left was there, they were just an extension of them. You know what I mean? So the last thing they're going to do is come out and say, yeah, you know, maybe we were wrong. Because matter of fact, Dave Smith, which is a comedian, but he's big into politics. If anybody don't know who he is, I'm sure there's a lot of people that do. But when he was up there arguing with the old CNN anchor, Como, he sat there and told that the CNN anchor, Chris Como, he told him everything he fucking lied about while he was at CNN, and he wasn't even at CNN no more. He done left by then. They got rid of him. He still wouldn't fucking admit that he ever pushed the vaccine, that he ever, was basically pushing for the lockdowns. And then they would pull up a clip and show him saying it, and he would still fucking deny it. That's how bad these people are. That's why it blew my mind when I read that headline earlier. And then like I said, I actually gave CNN a little credit. And then you just sat there and told me that they didn't deserve an ounce of it because they did what they always do. They're bitching about them putting a warning on something that's fucking hurting people. Like, how big of a piece of shit do you have to be? It's crazy.
Just to not admit you were wrong, like you said, it's nuts. But then claim to care about, the general population and people's health. And, we just want everybody to be safe. And that's what it is.
Yeah. Man, look, I mean, we're going to move on. I hate, it drives me crazy, the people's lives that were ruined over this, one of the biggest corrupt, the biggest we've ever probably seen in this country. You know what I mean? As far as the lie and the manipulation and the way that they controlled people and didn't give a fuck. They didn't care if you were a business owner and they told you weren't essential. Who the fuck are you to tell me my fucking livelihood isn't essential? Exactly. You know what I mean? And it didn't happen to me. But I just watched it go on around the country, and I'm thinking, how the fuck can you do that to people and don't care?
Don't care. No kind of compensation. I mean, nothing. We got our little stimmies, but what the fuck's that going to do if you're out of work for months,
Nothing, bro. Let me tell you, they had mom and pops 20, 30, 40 years in the fucking game that had to shut their fucking doors because of this shit. Yep. You know what I mean? And it's all them people knew. It's all they've done for decades, and it was fucking wiped out. And it's not like it was for a legit reason. That would be different. It was done on a fucking bullshit narrative that was being pushed by world leaders. This was it's so massive, the corruption that went on with that. And that's why you'll never see anybody held accountable, because they were too powerful of people behind it. And it's disgusting that they can do that shit and get away with it in this country. And that's exactly what happened. None. They will not have a single repercussion for any of that shit, And like I said, it pisses me off that people lost their fucking livelihoods over some bullshit, and they don't give a fuck. And it's the same people that will, go to bat for these motherfuckers. The citizens of this country will still sit there and act like this fucking government, one side or the other, cares about them after they went through one of the worst fucking scandals ever when it comes to how a country treated its fucking people. And it's it's amazing to watch the people that still side with them. I mean, if that ain't Stockholm Syndrome, I don't know what the fuck is. So
it's crazy.
Anyway, y'all got something positive to talk about?
Kinda.
I can't. So y'all done got me worked the fuck up.
As far as being held accountable for shit, right? Why can we still buy Roundup, but not lawn darts? Right?
People are fucking dumb, so that's why you can't buy lawn darts.
But Roundup?
Yeah, Roundup's
pretty fucking bad,
for
dude.
You, bro. Yeah,
pretty fucking bad. And
but
I thought about it because somebody had mentioned cancer and shit like that. But that Roundup shit's bad, dude.
It is, man. It is, and I think it's prolonged use and all. I mean, but there's a lot of things I guess that are bad. You're not supposed to be huffing paint either, but they sell it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying, sort of. Now the lawn darts, I think it was like children were fucking getting annihilated, because I'm old enough to remember I had them. And I mean, they were fucking massive. And you would just throw them motherfuckers up in the air and hope for the best,
See, and then the non-lawn dart kids grew up, and look where we're at now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we need to bring lawn darts back. I know what you're saying. I get it.
I
get it, bro. Dude. I get it. Johnny, what's Johnny talking about? Let's pull up. Let's get in these comments. I was forced into the Moderna vaccine. I'm sorry. I really hate to fucking hear that. I really do. Let's see. From my last job and ever since then, I have zero energy. I get it, bro. I hear all them fucking them horror stories from people like that, and it sucks for people like you because I know people personally that were put in that fucking position, and it's like, what do you do? You know, it's like either lose your fucking job or take this. And most people aren't in a position to just give their fucking job up. Yeah. And they knew that, you know. I know a couple people that were like, fuck you, I'll figure it out, and they quit.
Because especially at the time where they were shutting everything down, right? So it wasn't like quitting your job today where it's like, okay, I can go find another job, right? Everything shut the fuck down. So you quit here where they're letting you work. And then what? Yeah,
and then what? Yeah. I know a guy, man, look, he was making real good money. He was a tugboat captain. And if you know anything about down here, man, you driving that Mississippi River, they motherfuckers are making money. Mm-hmm. I ain't talking about a deckhand. He was the captain. He quit that shit when they started them shots. Done. 6 figures. I mean, just, them boys make money driving them big old. Done with it. Now, he's kind of a risk taker anyway. So he just went and opened up a different business and he was like, fuck it, I don't care. But most people didn't want to do that. They couldn't. You know what I mean? Right. Most people don't have the kind of money saved up to say, well, I can look for a job for a half a year if I have to, you know?
Exactly.
I mean, that's not the average American.
And the left is the side that pushes that about how, broke most of America is. That's the side that pushes it. So you would think
true.
That side would be the ones like, no, we need to keep people fucking working because everybody's struggling anyway, as much as they push it.
Well, you mentioned the little stimmies they gave everybody to kind of justify it. You know, here's what was it, $2,000? I forget.
$2,000. I think they gave $2,000 twice through the course of a year or something like that. Yeah. Which I made $4,000 this year because you fucking got me fired, you pieces of shit. Thanks.
No doubt. Richard, anyone with any sense at all knew that came from a lab. The stupid bat narrative. Yeah. That's that one didn't take long to figure out. It was like, okay, they're trying to push the bat. And then once they started you started hearing people talk about this lab theory. And it was like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot more fucking sense. They were over there fucking with shit and it happened to get out. Now there's some people that are still stuck on, they released it on purpose. I think myself, it was an accident. I think it was a fuck up. I think somebody, that shit was on somebody when they left that shit. But I do think they were over there, fucking playing around with these fucking viruses and trying to modify them and do whatever the fuck whatever reason behind it. I think they were fucking with them and mutating them. And then boom, it got loose. I don't think it was a purposely thing. Now, once it got loose, I think a lot of the governments around the world used it as an opportunity, to do exactly what they did, which is have total fucking control. It fucking basically, it stole the fucking election that year. Mm-hmm. When all that was going on, that was a big part of it for sure in this country. They wanted that shit locked down. They wanted to mail in ballots. They want, you ain't gonna convince me otherwise. That shit was orchestrated. So,
and I don't want to skip over get paid. We'll come back to it, but like Chris said, rent went up $500 a month, and that was, I attribute a lot of that to the government saying that landowners can't evict people, right, for not paying rent. So it's like, okay, well, if I own 200 apartment units or even 7 or 8 apartments, right, and 3 of them don't have to pay rent because I can't evict them, well, I've got to make up the money somewhere, so now rent goes up because they have to charge the people that are paying have to pay more now to cover the people that aren't, and they can't kick them out.
No doubt. What does get paid talking about? I walked out the door. Best thing I did. Didn't get the shot. Started my own business. Paid cash for my house last year. Good for you, man. See,
fuck yeah, dude.
I wish more people would have been able to do that when they were put in those fucking positions. But like I said, the average American just can't. You can't risk losing your house. You got kids. Some people are game for that. They're up for it. Whether they have the money saved or not, they're like, hey, I'll figure it out. I've been through worse. I don't care. I'm a risk taker. But most people aren't. They want security. Right. They want to, they just like to keep things how they've been, and creatures of habit. So they're just afraid to buck that system. And I get it, man. I don't judge anybody harshly that took it for that reason, because I hate that people were put in that position. I'm fortunate enough I wasn't, you know. I don't work for anybody, so nobody could tell me I had to take the jab. You were in a position where you weren't forced and put in that position, but I have sympathy for people that were, because I can only imagine if they'd have come to me and told me I had to do that, and I got children at home and mortgages and, you know, whatever else going on in life, and it's like, well, fuck, man, I can't lose my career. Yep. You know, so but boom, now you got to inject this shit in you and hope for the best.
And they tell you got to decide now.
Yeah. Now a lot of people that didn't take it like to talk shit, like, oh, I wouldn't have fucking did, but you can't say that. You don't know. You know, you're lucky you didn't have to get in that position, you know. So I'm not even gonna get up here and have this ego like, I don't give a fuck. I'd have told them to kiss my ass. I don't know what I'd have done. I just was lucky enough where I wasn't put in that position, you know.
Right.
So I like to think I'd have told him to go fuck off, but I don't know. I mean, it just, you know, I'd be thinking about a lot of shit, man. I lose my job, I'm fucked, you know?
Yeah.
So, anyway. Oh my God, dude. Y'all can't get started with that COVID shit. Can't get started with that. That shit'll go on and on and on, man. Let's look at this fucking prick right here. Let's see. There he is.
I like pricks.
There he is. You like pricks? You're a prick lover. All right. This is, you know, Tyler Robinson, accused, you know, Charlie Kirk shooter. All smiles in the courtroom. Now, couple things this kind of brought to my mind when I looked at it. One was, you know, what a piece of shit. Like, what, you know, you know what you did, if you believe he did it, you know what I mean? But really what I was thinking was all the conspiracies that came out about he's not the shooter, or he was set up, you know, or he was coerced, you know, the government made him do it, or Israel, whoever. Does it look like a guy that is a patsy, you know, that was used by somebody to take it, like he's concerned at all? You know what I mean?
No.
Like, it just doesn't give you that, like, you know, and there's a video to this, I mean, just to have some context, but the whole time he's chit-chatting with his lawyer and he's kind of grinning and they're talking, and it doesn't look like a guy that's worried at all, saying, dude, I'm being accused of some shit I didn't do, or I got, you know, they made me do this. So I don't know if that kills some of that narrative that some people are out there, you know, with, well, he wasn't the shooter, you know, if it changes anybody's mind. Because there's a lot of people that still believe that there was way more to it than this kid sitting on top of a roof.
Yeah.
And
what the fuck's on his forehead? It looks like he fell asleep first at a party.
Oh. I don't know what that is.
Somebody's going to say that's not him. That's somebody with a face on. Look at the line. Yeah. It's coming, I promise.
Oh, you talking about that line? That's right. Yeah, on his forehead there. I don't know if that's hair or what, but
hey, it's not connected to nothing.
Either way, you know, I'm starting to see a lot of stuff that kind of starts to make me even think a different way, because we all want to believe there's more to any story. It's just more interesting. You know what I mean? It's more interesting. So I was listening to everybody that was arguing about, especially the 30-06, you know, the bullet that hit Charlie Kirk, supposedly. You know, of course, there no exit wound, you know, is what they were going with. I don't know. I didn't see the back of his fucking neck, but apparently there wasn't any. Now, first argument any hunter will give you is that's impossible, you know?
Right.
Now, they say MLK was shot. 30-06. Bullet lodged in his body. Didn't come out. So that could kill that argument right there. You know what I mean?
And then they'll say that's fake.
Yeah, I've seen military people say they've shot the enemy with bigger rounds, and it gets lodged in their body.
Right.
So then that made me think, okay, well, damn, maybe it's not as, you know, such a conspiracy that, you know, maybe it's just cut and dry. This fucking dude was radicalized.
He looks nuts.
Oh well, yeah, he does. He does. That's what I mean. He took an opportunity to you know, do whatever he felt like he needed to do, and you know, that's where we came. You know, it's where we're at now. Now, not everybody's going to want to go with that, including Candace Owens. You know, she's another one off the fucking rails right now. You know, she's going as far as to blaming it on his wife. You know,
Thugs Bunny says that he's with Candace on this one, unfortunately. So,
are you? And look, I don't know. I'm just saying that Candace Owens keeps talking about a bunch of shit that she's not able to prove. And she's like I said, starting to throw Charlie's wife into it. And if Erica Kirk, which I believe has nothing to do with what went on, that is a fucked up thing to do on Candace Owens' part. You know what I mean?
Right.
That is a shitty thing to do to that woman and his family.
Absolutely.
But nobody has benefited more from Charlie Kirk's death than Candace fucking Owens. You know what I mean?
On the surface, for sure.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the wife made out pretty good. You know, now she's the fucking CEO of TP, USA.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, as far as if conspiracy's right and, like, Israel was behind it, then I'm sure they profited pretty well off of it, for whatever happened.
But if we're looking at it cut dry, this kid did it, Tyler Robinson, he did it, nobody else behind it. The biggest beneficiary right now is Candace Owens. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
She's making money off of this shit, and she's coming out with the most outlandish fucking accusations, and she hasn't really produced an ounce of proof for any of it.
She probably won't. It's probably just, I'm going to make more videos, and if I can get, however many hundreds of thousands of views that she gets each video, it's like, well, even if I do have proof, I'm not going to give it to you right now. I'm going to keep making you come back because I'm going to get paid off of every video that I can get everybody to watch, But
it's a shitty thing to do. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's crazy, man. But real quick, if you're tuning in, y'all hit that subscribe button for us. We appreciate it. This is what we do. If it's your first time watching us, we get on here, talk some shit. We'll have, we got guests with us sometimes. Just whoever wants to get on this motherfucker, we get on. That's basically how we roll. But anyway, dude, I just think it's a shitty way to be if Candace really doesn't believe what she's saying, then it's fucked up, and she needs to, she needs to stop that shit, man. But it's almost like it's made her lose every ounce of credibility, at least to me and people that don't believe what Candace is saying, because I had respect for Candace Owens a while back. She was just an outspoken conservative. She was fighting against the woke agenda and what the left was trying to do. And it's like, okay, I get it. That's your side. You chose a side. You do well. That wasn't good enough for her, apparently. You know what I mean? And it's like, to go this deep into it is crazy. Now, some people are saying Candace Owens wanted Charlie Kirk for herself, that she hates Erica Kirk. So that's been another thing that's been going around. You know what I mean? That she does not like Erica. And I'm sure at this point, Erica doesn't like her. How could you? I mean, damn, the woman don't shut the fuck up. But
yeah, they probably won't be having, decent words for each other for a good while.
No, I wouldn't speak to the bitch ever again if I was Charlie Kirk's wife.
But I'm kind of with Richard as far that's what I've been saying the whole time. I think it's cut and dry. Fucking nut grabbed a rifle, got where he could get, and took a shot. Like, it just makes sense, kind of going back to what you were talking about with the COVID, where it was this elaborate story of, it was from bats for some fucking reason and da-da-da. And it's like, man, it doesn't make a ton of sense. And then it's like, no, it accidentally got let out of a lab that they were doing research. Like, boom, that makes sense. That makes sense, right?
So, I'm with you, dude. I don't know. Like I said, I'm starting to lean towards it's just a cut and dry case. I don't think it's as big as everybody wants it to be. And if that's the case, then, I wish people would stop, because let's say it is as simple as it looks. It's as simple as it looks. A nut took out somebody, that he thought was an evil person. Okay. It's over with, said and done. Now, the family has to live with the nonsense that's going on every day, all day, and to contribute to that without producing any kind of facts, I think is very fucked up, very fucked up. That's kind of why I stopped wanting to get on here and really push any of those kind of conspiracies, because I started thinking about that this man had children, his poor fucking wife, if she's as innocent as I believe she is, it's terrible. You know what I mean? She shouldn't have to be going through that. And for people like Candace Owens that has such a huge platform to get up there and spew that kind of nonsense, it's just, it's crazy, man. It's crazy to make money off of somebody's tragedy like that. It really is. It just shows you how shitty people can be, even when you think they're good people.
As soon as money gets involved, like, good people have turned into terrible human beings when money becomes in the equation, especially large sums of money. Like, it happens.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, look, maybe Candace believes everything she's saying. That shines a different light on it. Because if you really believe what you're saying, then at least, you're not doing it with, ill intentions, like trying to just make money. You really believe it. Maybe she believes it and she's trying to get to the bottom of it and thinks that there were people involved close to Charlie, because that's what she keeps saying.
So why not let us in on your investigation? Show us what
you
have.
Well, because it keeps you coming back.
Well, then that's shitty.
It keeps you. Look, tune in tomorrow. We're gonna tell you. I'm gonna show you these text messages.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, she is good at. She's selling her show. I mean, that's what all these people are doing out there right now, and she's very good at it. It's always tune in to fucking tomorrow, just like the news. So I don't know. Anyway, I hate to even spend that much time talking about it. Just like I said, in case it is cut and dry and everybody around Charlie is innocent and now they're being drugged through the fucking mud, it's terrible.
Yep. 100%. I'm with you.
Now, do we have to worry about Venezuela? Are you afraid?
A little bit.
Because I know Trump said he is about to put troops on the ground. He's tired of fucking around with these people. Now, of course, that turns into whatever side you're listening to as far as the reason he's doing it. Some people are thinking it's the good old oil, which we've fucked up people for that plenty of times, and blamed it on some other nonsense. We're going to show a little bit of freedom, and they just happen to have a shit ton of oil in the area. So, could this be another one of those? Or is it truly what Trump is saying? Because, when you talk to Trump, it's really about the drugs that are coming over, the narcotics. I mean,
right.
I guess it could be that simple. I mean, he's tied it to
his thing is that he's going to have to put boots on the ground because they're still not complying with not running drugs.
Yeah. I mean, he recently, of course, escalated the rhetoric and actions against, the drug trafficking from Venezuela. I mean, he announced the U.S. land strikes targeting narcotics operations in Venezuela, are imminent pretty much, and they're already, quote, starting, according to Trump. But, it appears to be a part of a broader anti-drug campaign, focusing on intercepting shipments from horrible people, from what Trump is saying. So he's all behind that. It's the fentanyl that's being smuggled in, the of course, the cocaine and whatever else they're bringing. So he's all on board that this is why we're doing this. And he says apparently blowing up these ships it's not doing enough, and if that's the case, does it justify us going in there and fucking them up? I guess is the question, in people's minds. And I'm just curious, I don't have the answer to that. I'm just curious, anybody paying attention? I mean, what do y'all think? Should we be going in there and basically, I don't want to say going to war, because it ain't gonna be much of a fucking war, but should we be going on their soil, fucking them up over the drugs that are coming into this country? I mean, what do y'all think out there, everybody listening,
For me, it just seems odd. Like, I don't know. It really seems odd. It's like they're not, like the war quote, whatever, is one-sided right now, unless, like I said, that's why I was asking, like, what his rhetoric was as far as, like, oh, we're going to ramp up attacks because they're not stopping, the drug shipments, because I'm like, they're not, like, ramp it up for what? They're not fighting back, It's not like they're slinging missiles at U.S. ships or trying to shoot down planes. Like, they're not doing anything.
Yeah,
they're just like,
No, it's more of just because, like he said, it's not stopping, like there's too much of it being manufactured over there, and unless we go over there and start blowing those places up, instead of just the boats, that we're not going to get a hold of this. Now, this is his excuse. Like I said, the people that are are against it are claiming that it's just a big oil grab. It's basically, he ties it to the U.S. opioid crisis. He compares a lot of the drug deaths to wartime casualties and accusing Maduro's government of basically, enabling these traffickers. Yeah. So now there's some analysts who speculate, of course, there's underlying motives that could include, like I mentioned, the oil reserves over there, the regime change, which is another thing Trump wanted. So that could be another reason he's pushing for this, and geopolitical, I guess, leverage against allies like Russia, Iran, and Cuba, shit like that. But that's just the people that are, no matter what Trump does, they're going to say, well, it's bad, because.
Yeah, but so I guess I'm not a drug trade expert, right?
Well, you should be, because let me tell you something. That 20,000 pounds that they were trying to deliver, that was, from doing the calculation of the street value of a pound, it was about $20 million worth of shit. So you might want to start learning.
I might have to go to school.
It's very lucrative to be in the drug trade.
Yeah, dude.
But anyway. Yeah.
But so prior to the Venezuela shit, right?
Yes.
I was hearing, and I would assume everybody was hearing, that the fentanyl was coming from China. It was being produced in China and basically shipped to Central and Central America to be mixed up. And I was hearing that a lot of it was pressed in Mexico. A lot of the pills, the fake pills and shit that had to do with fentanyl was being pressed in Mexico. Cocaine, a good bit of it comes from Colombia, right? So where does Venezuela fit into all this? If the fentanyl is coming out of China, the fake pills are coming out of Mexico, the coke is coming out of Colombia, and the weed is coming from Afghanistan was a lot of it, and then I guess Mexico has a lot of it.
So you're saying what is Venezuela producing?
Where did they come into this? Prior to this year?
Apparently they're moving coke like fucking Pablo Escobar. I mean, you see the amounts on these fucking boats. So it must be a huge industry over there too.
But is it from them, or is it just like?
Well, I think that's what Trump is saying. That's what he's going after. The people that are manufacturing over there. Like, yeah, I guess you're asking, do they grow fucking coca leaves and actually process all that shit over there? Maybe.
Right.
Maybe we should try to sneak in and go do a little undercover, live stream or something, and we'll find out. I mean, what else we got to do?
I like it. I think we should go do some investigative journalism, dude. We'll bring the comments with us. We'll bring y'all with us. We'll go live, whole trip.
Yeah.
But it just seems like where the sources are, according to, the government. They know where. So why not try to hit that? You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's what he's talking about. You know what I mean? That apparently it's starting over there. Because I know what you're saying. Like, you're not sure if that's exactly where the process starts at, or if they're kind of a middle ground, But from the way he's speaking, what he's going after is supposedly these places where they're manufacturing that shit and all.
Right, but so that's like the big thing is we're going after fentanyl, right? Like, that's what's killing motherfuckers. Like, there's not many people out here fucking drowning in a bathtub of cocaine. All right?
No, because back when the shit was pure, it really wasn't that big of a deal.
So the cocaine's not the problem, right? The fentanyl is. And I've heard it numerous times that the fentanyl is coming out of, the opioids are a big one, which those are coming out of fucking Walgreens and CVS. And so, I mean, but the fentanyl is the big one. And I've heard time and time again, it's coming out of these labs in China, and it's being purchased by Mexico, and it's being purchased by these other countries. So why, I mean, is it that we can't fuck with China for something so minuscule as, shipping millions of pounds of fentanyl into America? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. It's like, why are we so heavily concerned about Venezuela when there's other places that are probably doing far more, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Or at least worse, because, I don't know. I know, anytime it comes to any kind of actions that an administration is taking when it comes to things like this, there's so much more behind it that we would probably never going to understand, because you're never going to get the full story of what's really going on. Until it's like years down the line. The whole, going back to the weapons of mass destruction, bullshit that made us go invade somebody, and come to find out there was nothing there. Like, you know what I mean? So, I think there's more to it than just as simple as, is Trump doing it to stop drugs or for oil? You know, I think it's probably more complex than that, way above my pay grade. You know, I'm just going by what he's claiming is that it's being made there, and we're going after these places that are doing it because the boats just aren't good enough. Why he's not fucking with anybody else, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. He may have a legitimate reason. We'll try to get him on here tomorrow night, so y'all tune in, and we'll ask him, you know. So we'll see how that goes. Not guaranteeing nothing, but I'm going to reach out to him, so we'll see if he answers.
I like it. We'll send him a DM. You know?
No. Now, you know, and part of the problem, though, that they say that the implications of this, if it gets bad, I mean, it could spike oil prices, which isn't good because now all your fucking fuel and everything's going back up.
Right.
You know, of course, like I said, that's not good. Nobody wants to see that. You know, I guess border conflict is another one they were worried about, but I don't think it's much of a conflict though with a place like that. You know. I think it's more of us going over there and fucking up what we want to fuck up. But if it's an oil thing, then everybody suffers because we pretty much all have to buy gasoline, you know. So if it leads to that, and you know, it from what they're saying, it's not as cut and dry either as our military just going over there and taking over shit because you're in their territory. And it's not like it's just a flat ground of where you're just going to see all your enemy, and you know what I mean. So there could be casualties that come to our U.S. soldiers for him, you know, deciding to do this. So it better be for a damn good reason, I guess.
Absolutely.
Is what I'm getting at. You know what I mean? And the history of this country, 9 times out of 10, it's not a legitimate reason to send young people over there to die in wars. You know what I mean? Pretty much every fucking war we've been in. So.
Everyone.
You know, you got that too, you know. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. You know, I think he'll be able to get in there and do whatever the fuck he wants to do because it's like, what are they going to do? You know, I mean, what are they going to do about it? And I know that's a bully mentality, but if he's really going over there to stop this influx of drugs and shit that's coming over here killing people, then hey, do what you got to do, man. You know?
I mean, I'm with you. If that's really what it's about, then you know, go for it. You know, you've passed up the talking of like, hey, stop fucking doing this, you know, and hey, stop doing this. And if you don't, this is what we're going to do. And then you did that and it didn't work. And if it is escalating, you know, just like that, then so be it, you know?
Yeah.
Let's go.
They talking about, you know, the recent reports are saying, man, it's big increase of U.S., you know, military presence over there, man. You know, F-18 fucking Super Hornets and shit, and these, you know, just fucking drones and radar systems in nearby countries like Trinidad and Tobago, and you know, 4 military aircraft. You know, they were spotted off of Venezuela's coast, you know, today. So I mean, they ramping shit up over there. So I guess we'll see how it goes, but. And I mean, you'd like to think it's going to do, hopefully, you know, some good, you know, as far as if it's the real reason of stopping this bullshit of coming in here. Because, you know, and I think you touched on it earlier. It's really the fentanyl that's the big concern.
Right.
You know, because all it takes is some kid at a party, never fucked with anything in his life. And, you know, look, we've all been young, dumb, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, just take one of these. It's not a big deal. We all do it. Pops one, he's fucking dead. You know what I mean? Because of fentanyl, not because of the pill that he took. And it's not just, you know, people that choose to, you know, take drugs day in and day out that are dying from this. You know, there's just young people that, like I said, I mean, you're young, you're dumb, you make bad decisions, and now you're dead because some asshole brought some shit over, you know, from another country that was just allowed to flood in, especially with the last administration because the border was wide fucking open, you know. And why?
Yeah, and then when he was beefing with Canada at the beginning of the presidency, all the fentanyl was coming out of Canada. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. Look, I don't know. I think I can't figure him out. You know, I can't figure him out. Just going by what he's saying. So yes, and Timothy's right.
Americans love drugs.
That's why, you know, a lot of people were saying, well, them boats weren't coming straight to America, so why is he blowing them up? But I guarantee you the end result of those drugs being moved were for them to land in America because that's where the money's at. And that, you know what I mean? And if you want to make money, you come sell that shit over here. You're not selling it in Mexico. You know what I mean? It's right here in the fucking United States. They know where the money's at. So either way, no matter how it got here, whether it was a straight shot or it was going through somewhere else or whatever, it was trying to get to America. And from what I see, Trump's trying to end it. Hopefully it's, he's got good intentions behind it. It's not some sneaky shit that's going around. Matt, what's up, Matt? Matt hits on a good one, shit's already been paid for, so ain't no telling, probably by our fucking CIA. Ain't no telling. They've been busted before with that shit. I mean, that's what sent Freeway, Ricky Ross,
motherfucking crack,
to prison. He was selling dope for the CIA and didn't even know it, making millions. Had no clue it was a CIA operation. And then they fucking put this man in prison when they were done with him. That's fucked up. They used that man to fucking sell that dope. And then they're like, you know what? We're done with him. Let's go ahead and press charges on him. Crazy shit, dude. So, anyway. Anywho, so we got that. We're going to war with Venezuela. Everybody get ready. It's going to be brutal.
Yep.
Brutal.
I'm ready.
Poly Markets talking about Gavin Newsom 2028.
Right.
Hope everybody's ready for that. I
already put my vote in.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I don't see anybody else really coming out of the crowd right now that could really take him down if he decides to run. Because you got AOC, her goofy ass. That ain't gonna happen. And this Pete Buttigieg guy, he's going nowhere. So I think on their side, that's probably who it's gonna be. And right now,
we ain't got nobody on this side.
I don't see anybody on this side.
Nobody.
I don't see anybody on this side that can get as down and dirty as Trump does and not let the typical political attacks take you down. You know what I mean? Trump was like, I guess no pun intended, but he was bulletproof when it came to that. He didn't give a fuck. You say what you want. I don't care. None of it's going to bother me because I'm going to come back with a jab even harder. Well, not every politician's like that, because especially on the right. Because the right's biggest problem is they always like to look like the bigger person and turn the other cheek, while the Democrats play no holds barred. There's no rules on their side. You know what I mean? And we want to sit here and it's kind of like rules of engagement, for our military when you go to these foreign countries that don't have the same fucking rules. It's a hard fucking fight. It's a hard fight when you have rules and regulations that you want to play by, when the other side's like, fuck that. We're going to get down and dirty and win by all means necessary. I got to give it to the Democrats. They play to win,
They
by
do.
any means. And I just don't see anybody that brash on the Republican side right now.
No.
So,
and I mean, there's just nobody that I can think of that is in the spotlight, I guess, like the Democrats that you just named. I mean, I feel like we don't even know who the fuck JD Vance is, right?
Yeah.
He hasn't said anything. He hasn't he's just kind of in the shadows. Like,
yeah, he is, and he doesn't strike me, even from what I've seen of him. I mean, he's still not that, that fighter that's going to get vicious with these people, because these people are. These Democrats are vicious. You see how they came after Trump, and they come after anybody they don't like. They come with a mission, and it is to destroy you. And they're good at it. Because for one, they all stick together. All this infighting that goes on in the Republican Party, that's a big problem. These Democrats stick together. And when their goal is to take somebody down, you see the media jumps on board. You know what I mean? Every politician on their side jumps on board. It's like they all get the playbook and they go by it. You don't see that a lot on the right. They don't like to be that mean and that dirty. And that's why a lot of them hate how Trump acts. It's just not presidential like. Yeah, well, that's what it takes when you're fighting people like that. Because they give him shit about the name calling, especially when it comes to these fucking reporters that have done nothing but, blasted him, lied about him, called him every name in the fucking book. And when he shoots back at them, it's a problem. I don't see the problem. I don't give a fuck if you're president or the guy living right down the road. If somebody's attacking you, well, give it back to him. That's what we need, and I'm not saying we need somebody as brash as Trump. Some people say he's overboard, but you still need a fighter. You know what I mean? You need somebody that's not afraid to get down in the mud every now and then with these assholes, because that's how they play.
Absolutely. And I just feel like JD Vance isn't that. I mean,
I don't either. I don't
somebody,
think he is.
God-seeking atheist had mentioned him with, him, Trump, and Zelensky, but I feel like he almost needs that presence in the room, that
Right.
leader presence for him to kind of step up and like, he wouldn't have said any of that to Zelensky if it was just him and Zelensky in the room. I don't feel like. I feel like it took
I know
Trump
what you mean.
being
It's
in
like
there, and he's
feeds,
I got my dog with me, fuck you. And other than that,
nah, I know he doesn't excite me either.
no,
which is
and
scary.
Buddy from Florida's been really quiet. Like, I don't think he's been loud enough and just kind of in people's faces enough to garner the attention that you need to.
No, the governor over there. Yeah, nah, he Trump damn near demolished him too. That's the problem. He made him look like a joke too, man. It's hard to go up against Trump. It really is. I mean, you've seen that back in the day with the debates. The first go round, he's destroying everybody on stage because he doesn't give a fuck. You may not like it, but it's the truth. He don't fucking care. The names where he starts making you look like a fucking joke. You know what I mean? Like, even Marco Rubio, little Marco. Well, you know how demeaning, like, people start looking at you now like this little laughable figure because Trump's calling you little Marco.
Yeah,
and shit like
that makes me think of that bit Shane Gillis did when he was talking about Trump, the first Trump debates, and he's like, everybody's all political, and Trump gets up there and Ron Paul looks like a dog.
Yeah, and he just starts that's what I'm talking about. But it took that to get. It took that to get to the top like Trump did, and look, the average American got a kick out of it because that's the type of shit we're sitting around, the shit we're talking with our friends and, seeing people we don't like and like, look at this motherfucker. It looks like a, whatever. I ain't gonna sit here and start calling, derogatory names because we're live, but, just so, but how we are in private, all of us. I mean, we cut up, you know what I mean? And that Trump came out with that shit and it was like, oh, damn. Like, holy shit. And then all the Republicans are standing on the stage. They don't know how to react because they're still trying to be that, that proper fucking Ted Cruz, person. And it's just, you're not going to win like that anymore against these people, man. Mm-mm. It's just not going to happen, It's just not going to happen. No, Matt's trying to get me to say words and names I don't need to be saying on here. So, but anyway, if you're tuning in, subscribe right now, hit the button. There ain't no reason not to. Just do it. It's not going to hurt you. But
it's free.
So anyway.
Idle Hands says Vance is better than any generic politician. The old politicians got to go.
I like Vance. I do. I just don't. I'm with you, though. I don't think he has that dog in him that's going to be neat to fight. Let me tell you something. Gavin Newsom's coming. He's coming. They're already grooming him. You could tell he's starting to try to act like a normal fucking guy and, talking on podcasts and saying the word fuck, and stuff like that. So he's trying. He's coming. There ain't no different. There's no doubt about it. He is going to be their guy in 2028.
100%.
Now, the problem is that whole side's going to get behind him, and they're going to push him, and the media is going to push him. So you're going to be fighting that again. Now, is J.D. Vance ready for that? You know what I mean? Because you saw what came. You know what's going to happen. All of a sudden, there's going to be some sexual assault allegations coming against J.D. Vance. Can he handle that kind of heat? Trump, it bounced off. Trump, I don't give a fuck. Say what you want. I don't care. Whatever. I didn't touch that girl. Look at her. He'd say shit like that. Like, why would I touch her? Look at her. Whether somebody was true or not, my point is he didn't give in because of that. It didn't scare him off.
Right.
You know what I mean? An allegation like that to a lot of people are like, whoa, like, hold on now. I don't want to play that down and dirty. I didn't, man, I got a wife and shit. Don't come at me with that kind of bullshit. But is J.D. Vance that guy?
I don't think so. And I'm really not against a Gavin Newsom, honestly, because I feel like Gavin Newsom, he's going to come in, he's going to be ready to fight, and it's going to be a tough one.
You're not against Gavin Newsom?
No. I'm saying not against, like J.D. Vance going against Gavin Newsom. I'm saying he's not ready for it against Gavin Newsom. Somebody like a Gavin Newsom. Had he have been running against,
I thought you said you're not. I'm like, whoa, give me a good reason.
Fuck him and his fucking politics. But no, I feel like had J.D. Vance have went against like a Kamala, like this last race, if Trump wasn't running,
sure,
maybe because you had a lot of craziness going on where people were like, these motherfuckers aren't right in the brain, you know? So it would have been a lot easier. But against a Gavin Newsom, I don't know. I don't think he even if he does run and gets the nomination and gets up there, I don't see it.
Yeah. Well, and Tamika here makes a good point. I mean, the Democrats slander everyone, but not everybody's built for that. You know what I mean? Because it gets dirty, bro. You see it. That shit gets dirty. And look, they fucking shot at Trump. How much more dirtier does it get? You know what I mean? They tried to take his fucking head off. Not everybody's built for that. The motherfucker got right back up. And he was ready.
I would quit. I would go home. I'd be like, look, I'm done.
And he goes back to the same place a few months later and does a fucking rally. Not everybody. Now, you could hate the motherfucker, but you got to give him credit. I mean, you know, they tried to take his fucking brains out, and he was like, fight, motherfuckers, I'll be back. Well, do you see a J.D. Vance doing that? You know, like, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. Fuck all that. It ain't worth it to me, you know? So that's my point. It's going to take somebody like that to beat these people. And I just don't see who it is, man. I don't see who it is. You know, it looks like it's a real good chance that they're going to be right back in control come 2028. And we're going to have a person that basically runs California like a fucking prison camp over there running the nation. You know, people have no fucking rights, you know, none. They're a lot of times they're told how much fucking water they can use, you know, because the systems that they run over there are so everything's just shit. You know what I mean? The big cities are all but fucking just gone over there with the drug use and the homelessness. Well, he doesn't give a fuck. He encourages that shit, you know? So that's who's going to be running the nation.
Comes.
Yeah, right. And he cleans it up. But so I hate to present it, but y'all get ready. It's coming. You know, go ahead and you know, mark your calendars. Say, man, that guy told me that. That guy on that stupid fucking show I ran across told me he was going to win. It's going to happen. So
go put your bets in on Polymarket.
Put it in. Get on. That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. Get on Polymarket. Go ahead and put all your money on it because it's coming.
Tamika says JD is a much better spoken and young. If he runs a strong MAGA campaign, he'll be a good candidate. Yeah, he is well spoken. He can speak.
I like it, but that's to me that's part of the problem, though.
He's not relatable. You know,
right? He's not. And look. Somewhat like his story is. I mean, if you ever watched that movie about him, I mean, he comes off as he came from a very humble upbringing. Okay, I get it. But I think that's part of the problem with the politicians is being too polished. And when you're going up against, you know, just down and dirty fucking vicious people, you got to come out like Trump sometimes. You got to. You know, you have to go against these people nowadays like that. That's not the old school way of doing it. You know, both sides, they were just full of polished people that had practiced how to talk in front of a teleprompter. And, you know, they're just everything's perfect and every movement's planned. I just think them days are over with if you want to really relate to the average American.
You got to get in front of the people, man. Because, I mean, even like Timothy said, Trump could say that air is good and the Democrats would argue that the air is bad. Truth doesn't matter anymore. And that's correct. So just being well-spoken and coming out and telling the truth and, you know, going through the spiel, I don't think it's going to work. He's got to get in the spotlight more.
Get it.
He's got 3 years. He's got to get in front of the American people. He's got to get people to relate to him and just, you know, him as a person and just keep being loud and be out there. And if he doesn't do that, then I don't think he's got a shot.
No. And you know, my only hope is what I'm hoping is that people will be so against somebody like Gavin Newsom that they'll vote for whoever the Republicans are putting up, you know, whether it be J.D. Vance or whoever kind of, you know, rises to the top in the next couple of years. But I'm hoping people would remember the shape California's in because of this guy and say, oh, fuck that. Yeah, we can't have that. But the problem is people have short-term memory. And when they start, you know, building up this guy like they're doing right now to be the average guy, he cares about the middle class. People kind of forget about what happened a few years back. You know, you see it all the time in politics. You know, the news cycle moves so quick. And then, like I said, when everybody is on board pushing that narrative, which is what the media is going to do. You can count it right now. The media is going to get behind whoever the Democrats are pushing, and that's all that's going to be pumped in your fucking face all day is how great this guy is, how great he is. And they're gonna cherry pick a few fucking things that he did in California that are positive, and they're gonna just run with that. And then they're still going to keep telling you how evil the other side is, how racist they are, how they're full of bigots. And they're going to, if your skin is brown, they're throwing you out the country. And they're just going to keep going with that and going with that. And it may work. It may work. It's worked, for years and years now. Just talk so much shit about the other side opposed to trying to build up your side. Just, keep painting that other side is so bad. So I'm hoping. Yeah, it is. It's a great strategy, and I'm hoping we use that. I'm hoping they keep pushing how bad he's been, and the type of rules he wants to implement. Because, like I said, they take so much freedom from you when you live in California. It's fucking crazy. It's like a whole other world.
It really is.
It's nuts. It's crazy when I talk to people that have lived there or live there. It's like it's a shit show over there.
Yeah,
I'm not looking forward to that.
So we had a few comments. Kind of go through.
Hit
so
him.
Richard says, I think Vance will beat Newsom. Remember, Trump will be backing him up. So there's a plus there.
That's a good point. I guess Trump jumping behind, people. He's still going to have a big following. So, yeah, I wasn't thinking about that. I'll give you that. He's going to be endorsing, hopefully, whoever, is running.
Yep, I like that bullet point, Richard. So Tamika says, kind of hoping for nothing too serious. Trump steps down year 3. JD gets a year in office before the election.
Oh, Lord, Trump ain't stepping nowhere. Unless, like she had to. But as far as voluntary shit, if he could run again, he'd be right back up there.
They would, too.
Trump's
Apprentice says, I'm voting for Alex Jones.
I'll take it. It'd be fun. It would be fun. Just conspiracies every day coming out of the White House. Just every day. Every space aliens here. Seen them. It's coming.
Matt said, if only California remembers Democrat men suck balls and all the Democrat women wish they had their own balls, then JD will win. So there's where that went. Yeah. I think we're caught up.
Just going through God. Bro, I don't know who the fuck you are or what you're on. God-seeking atheist. I hope you subscribed at least. I'm trying to keep up where the fuck you're talking about in these comments, brother. And I'm just seeing words like diarrhea and fucking, I don't know.
He's gotten me back and lost me a couple times.
He's my homie. We love y'all.
Need you to come back on the next live and tell me how you felt Saturday morning. Please.
Yeah.
But yes, please subscribe. We love all y'all. Appreciate y'all coming.
So that's about it. We agree that as long as you're not a violent felon, you should be able to get your gun rights back. There should be a process you can go through.
And not Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll's cool, bro. I start hating on him myself sometimes because anytime you get too much of anything, it's like, okay, fuck God. It's like every time you turn on the fucking radio, it's Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll, Jelly Roll, Jelly Roll. And it's like, okay, I get it. Whatever that fucking, only talk to God when I need. It's like, okay, I get it. But when you sit down and talk to this dude, bro, he's so kind-hearted. You know what I mean? Like I just watched a part of a good portion of him on the Rogan podcast. I mean, he's just so energetic and just positive, and he's been through a lot, and he's an open book. Some of the shit he tells you, I'm like, God damn, dude, like, like you didn't have to tell us that, So he seems like a real down there, cool dude, and it's good to see him. I mean, he done lost fucking. I think he's down to like 260 pounds. That dude was pushing 600 pounds on average. That's big.
Dude. Look, once you start putting out these new age generic country songs,
you
lose your gun rights. You lose your gun rights. They're gone.
I get it. So take it away. I'm with you. Yeah. All right. Well, you changed my mind. Fuck him. And no, I'm with you. Look, I don't listen to his music. I really don't. I just see him in these interviews, and and it's like, he doesn't seem like a bad dude. But he brought up a good point. That there should be some road to redemption when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't be a lifelong punishment if you didn't do anything that fucking serious. You know, if it's a
and it
drug
needs to
charge.
Be clearer. Because, so like Louisiana, right?
Right.
When, you know, aside from certain felonies, but, you know, the nonviolence, like we're talking about, 10 years after you finish your sentence. So, you know, parole, like everything.
Right.
You start counting. 10 years after that, you can apply to get your gun rights back in Louisiana.
Gotcha.
Now, federally, it may be different, right? But you have to wind up going to a lawyer and getting them to look this up and that and going back and forth. So it's not a straightforward path, you know? So Louisiana says, yeah, you can have a gun, but you may not be able to go to the gun store and buy a gun because federally you may fail your background check.
Yeah.
So it's odd.
No, I got you. But there is a path to it over here.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. Okay. Well, makes sense, I guess. But like I said, I think everybody that should have a path as long as it wasn't a violent crime, you know, is the gist of it. Just give you a path. And I liked your suggestion earlier, like, you know, go back through their history while they were in jail. You know, make sure they weren't acting like assholes or, you know, just getting into altercations and shit. Like, make sure they did their time correct. They don't seem like, you know, a threat to society, which, I mean, I think it's kind of bullshit anyway, because if you want a gun, there's places to get them, you know. I mean, you don't have to go walk into a fucking store and buy one. So it's kind of dumb anyway, because it's not like if a felon really wants a handgun, they're just like, well, I don't know. I can't. It's illegal. I can't have it. I can't get it. If they want it bad, they're gonna get it. You know. Yeah. So at least give the ones that, you know, aren't really a threat a chance. So go Jelly Roll. I hope he gets his gun. The man wants to hunt. He just wants to go hunt. You know. So let the man hunt. He's struggling financially. Needs to feed his family. Let him hunt.
Whatever. I get it.
So make sure y'all subscribe. Hit the fucking button right now. That's a demand. I know I see a lot of y'all. Y'all better hit the damn button. We're not coming back.
I can see you hovering.
I know. They're like, do I want to, well, you told me some of the old people think when you hear subscription, like they got to pay for something. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, it's free. Anybody over, 60, if you're watching this, it's free. You're not subscribing to like a newspaper where they're going to charge you 72 cents to deliver. It's free. Hit the damn button. So anyway, that's it. Let's wrap it up. It's been a good one. It's been fun. We'll be back at it, I don't know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever we feel like getting on here and ranting. So till then, y'all be good. Justin, tell them bye.
Bye.